Hi, I'm Kevin from D-Tools, and in this video, I'll provide an introduction to change orders. While we only have three primary topics, there's going to be a lot to unpack in this video. We'll start with project approval, then we'll discuss external change orders, and we'll finish up with internal change orders. Let's define project approval. When your customer approves your proposal, you'll go ahead and set the project as approved. When you do this, all items are marked as approved and price fields are locked. Both optional and alternate items are removed from the project, and SI will capture a revision of the project and show it as approved in your revision window. At this point, all project changes are managed using change orders. And SI automatically manages revisions as part of this process moving forward, meaning it will take a snapshot of your project as each change order is approved. And while revisions and change orders complement each other, they are not the same thing. A change order represents pending, approved, or rejected project changes, whereas a revision captures the entire project at a moment in time. So we have a project to walk through some change order examples. I want you to notice the project status is marked as submitted to client, and it hasn't been marked approved yet. So we're going to come up here and check out the project. And then right here is the approval button, and we're going to go ahead and choose Mark Project as Approved. This window opens for approval and a couple of things happen. So the status is currently submitted to client. The system is going to update it to approved, and it's going to mark the close date. So I could put whatever date it is. Maybe the customer actually signed on Friday. And then the system will also capture a revision of the project at this moment in time. So we'll go ahead and mark as approved, and a few things are going to happen. We're going to see the status update. Now we see the approved check mark. And if I come to the revisions window here, we actually see this approved project revision. If I go ahead and open the project, we'll see a couple of other changes here. Notice there's now an approved column here with a check mark next to each item showing that each item is approved. When a customer asks for changes, create an external change order. Additions and deletions actually change the value of the project. Items cannot be deleted directly. Instead, in a change order, an item can only be marked for deletion. Items marked for deletion appear with a line through them in the project window. If the change order is approved, the item will then be deleted, and if the change order is rejected, the item will remain. An undelete function is now available to restore an item marked for deletion on a change order. Added items appear with a plus icon to show they are additions, and all changes reflect the change order number. Now that we have an approved project, the system automatically guides us through change order creation. One simple way to get the process started would be to go and search for a product. So let's say that I was going to add a couple of these speakers. I'll set that quantity to 2 and go ahead and drop them into the family room. And when I do that, first I get a prompt for accessories. I'll go ahead and accept that. But then the system immediately asks if I'd like to create a change order. So this project has no pending change orders, but in an approved project, you can add products to a pending change order. Would you like to create one? Yes. The system then prompts me for some details about the change order. It automatically gives it a name, which I can edit. I can give this any kind of a name I'd like. I can add a description of the changes, adding LCR speakers in family room. Then the question is this an external change order? So customer facing, right? The customer asked for this, or am I making some sort of a update that's internal? So I'll go ahead and just save that record. And now you can see our speakers were added and they have a different color to the lines. We see this plus icon here, and they do not have the approved check mark. So these are pending on a change order, right? So that's one way to approach this. Now that I've added the speakers, I need to update my scope of work. So I'll come here to open scope of work client and note that now I have a scope of work option for the change order. We'll go ahead and open that, and I'll paste in my text that we're adding LCR speakers in the family room. I'll go ahead and save that, close out, and then we'll go up to reports and I'll choose the quick quote. And also I get the option to run the report either on the approved project or the pending change order. So we'll select the change order, and this report does a really cool thing. It turns into a change order report automatically because the data is change order data. So the header is now change order, and we have our pending change order scope of work text as well as the pricing details. We do have options for showing or hiding the details of changes. In this case, we're just showing a summarized version. That's one way that we can start the process, just simply add or delete items, right? Let's say that now we're no longer going to use the origin acoustic speakers in this room. So I'll select those and then I can right click and choose delete. When I do that, I am prompted to include these on a pending change order. I'll go ahead and say yes. And now this is an interesting option as well. I can just choose to include them on the current change order, or if for some reason this was a different change request, I could create a new change order record here and place these speakers on a different change order, and I could manage them both at the same time. But I'll go ahead and just select the current change order. And so now you can see the strike through across those speakers, the X here helping us recognize that they're marked for deletion, but notice they are still approved. That means that if I was to run a report on the approved project, all of the items with the check marks would be included. And if I was to run the change order, we would have the pluses and the minuses here, and that's what we would see. Let's run a different report just to quickly understand what that might look like. I'll just do this. I'll choose the change order. So this was the proposal with images report. It will also turn into a change order. So it has that cover page that now says change order, the removal of some speakers with a negative, and the addition of some speakers with the difference in price. And now we see change order summary here. This report currently doesn't have the scope of work turned on, but it could include that as well. If your customer does accept or reject your change order, you have the ability to resolve that here. So under settings, I can go to change orders. I can see my pending change order, and my options are to mark as approved or mark as rejected. I can also delete the change order. I can click edit and change some of these details. So all of those options exist here, as well as if I close the project and go back to the Project Explorer, if I come to the Change Orders tab, I have many of the same options that were available to me right inside the project editor. Let's go ahead and mark the change order approved. And we have a few decisions to make here. In this case, this is a simple external change order. We can simply mark it as approved. We'll see the status update. When I go back to the project, this is really important. We're going to see those changes became permanent. The speakers we added are here and they are approved. The speakers that we removed are no longer listed. If I want to see what those changes look like, I do have that capability. I can come and open the change order itself by double clicking here. The system lets me know this is read only. And when I open it, now I can see the details of the change, the deleted speakers, the added speakers. So I do have access to that history. Let's talk about internal change orders. Internal change orders allow for changes that the customer need not see. Some examples are minor updates to the bill of materials when a model changes, or replacing an allowance with actual equipment that can be ordered. And items that maybe were missed in the original design but are necessary for the project, those can be added to an internal change order without changing the contract value. And SI prompts the user to set added items as non-billable. The goal is to maintain the contract value. An item marked for deletion on an internal change order will affect the project price once approved. There is a feature that allows for you to capture the value or the price of the equipment and labor of items removed on internal change orders. It is best not to remove or delete items from an internal change order. Instead, use the replace feature. And this offers the ability to maintain installation prices and also keep accessories of the previous item. Remember, accessory items may have already been installed, so we want to be careful about manipulating our change orders. Let's go ahead and create an internal change order. So I'm here in the Project Explorer with my selected project on the Change Orders tab. I'm going to click New. This time I'm going to choose an internal change order. And I'm going to call this BOM update, actually giving it a new name. Now this is internal. The customer is never going to see this. Revise BOM prior to ordering. Okay, so now we have the change order record in place. I did that from this view as opposed to directly from the project. I'll go ahead and open the change order. Notice there's a change order filter message showing me that what we're seeing in the view is only items that are active on the change order, which currently is empty. So we don't have a view of anything in the project. But I have this change order filter option that's now been created since I'm in an approved project. I can go ahead and hit reset, and now we see our approved bill of materials. Let's say that in one of the audio zones, we needed a more powerful amplifier. So we were going to replace one of these amplifiers to the necessary unit. I'm going to use the replace feature. So I'm going to click here, right click, and choose replace products. Now this is a really cool feature. This mentions that we're going to be prompted to select a pending change order. So I'll click OK. We do have our pending internal change order. We'll let that be the one. The result is that the replace feature automatically filters our view to products of the same category and subcategory. So really 2-channel stereo amplifiers. That's what we're seeing here. Now, if we need to change the product to something that is not in that same category and subcategory, we can simply click reset to view the entire catalog and search from there. Let's say we're going to use this Sonamp amplifier here. I also want you to notice this is very important, options. This is an internal change order. And in an internal change order, the goal is to maintain the contract price. So even though we made the mistake and we missed that we needed the more powerful amplifier, we're not going to charge the customer for this. So one of the most important things I can do here is check the box that says maintain installation prices. That means that the price of the product as well as the labor will remain the same within the project. Now, if the amplifier costs more or less, those values will update to reflect the true cost of the job, but not the selling price to the customer. And there are many other options here, and I would encourage you to explore this further in your own workflows around change management, but this will help us get the results we need. I'll simply click replace and close. So what we see here is the Sonos amp being marked for deletion and the Sonamp being added. Now we'd be able to go ahead and resolve this change. If I return to the change order filter and remove the approved item, so we're only looking at the change order, I want you to notice we have the item marked for deletion, the added item, and we have an installation price of 0. That means the deleted item that's being replaced with the added item actually maintains the installation price of the project and does not have any impact on our contract, which is exactly what we'd hoped for. Just like any other change order, I could choose to go to settings and change orders and resolve this change once it's been approved internally. Now that you've been introduced to change orders, to learn more, visit the System Integrator Help Center. It's located at docs.d-tools.com. Go ahead and search for change orders to browse additional topics.